next minute, he had a blue light on his back shelf, flashing, and he was flashing his full beam, coming up behind me. So I pulled in, and he stopped and everything, and I got in car, and he's saying that he's going to ban me for 6 months.
Well, he can't ban you.
No. He wrote the ticket out and said this could be a 6 months ban.
Fine.
Is that right?
Well, the answer to the question, it could be. It's possible. Have you any other endorsements?
No, well, this...
What's he charged you with?
He's charged me with reckless driving and speeding. Well, I don't call it speeding, really.
Well, it either is speeding or isn't speeding. What speed has he alleged you were travelling at?
Well, he said I was doing, 40-ish, and I'm only doing 35.
Well, he wouldn't have said you were only doing 40-ish. They're rather more specific. They usually ask you first.
Yeah, but you know what police like. Have you ever been stopped yourself?
Once or twice, yes. Probably more often than you, by the sound of it.
But
I've never been stopped and accused of reckless driving, but speeding I've been done for once or twice.
Yeah. Well, what he's trying to say is...
We know what he's trying to say, that you were driving recklessly. Hence the charge, reckless driving.
Yeah. Well, just listen. He said... What did it... No, hang on, what did he say? He said that... He's getting me done for... He put excess speed 30 on the yellow thing they give you.
Excess speed 30?
Yeah, right. So
implying that you were travelling at 60? Is
that what it means?
I've no idea. You tell me.
Well, what it says, it says excess speed 30.
Well, my interpretation of that, without seeing the form, it would be difficult, but my interpretation with that would be that your speed was 30 miles per hour in excess of the speed limit prevalent at the time.
Would it?
Well, that's my interpretation of it.
No, but it would have put... I think if I were doing anything really over the speed limit, it would have put it down.
Well, it has done.
Well, no, but I'm only doing 35.
Well, that can be your argument at court. That can be your defence.
But, I've never had a driving,
Well, everybody that gets their first one's never had one before. That doesn't mean they're not entitled to their first one.
No, but do you not think it's a bit unfair to get the ban?
Well, first of all, we don't know that you're going to get a ban. That's only what he said. It isn't an automatic ban.
Yeah. But, like I'm saying is, what do you think on it?
What do I think on it? I don't think about it at all. You're going to get a summons. You respond to the summons. In your experience, do you think I'll get a ban? I wouldn't have thought so, but it's possible.
It's possible, is it? All right, then.
All right, then.
Yeah, thanks.
It's a pleasure.
There goes another one in the 300-car challenge at Mr. Smith, the Nissan Man, and another £20 to the National Children's Home.
Deal direct with Direct Windows.
Direct Windows, the best way to buy UPVC windows and doors in Lancashire. We install the superb Bowater Halo system, and all work is guaranteed and underwritten at Lloyd's of London. Buy direct, avoid the middleman, and make hard cash savings. Visit the new factory showroom 7 days a week at 64 Red Scar Estate, Longridge Road, or phone Paul Kelly on Preston 703 008.
Deal direct with Direct Windows. Direct Windows.
Looking for something different this week? Come along to the spectacular Superdome at Morecambe's Leisure Park and see the stars in concert. Frank Carson, Derek Beatty, plus many, many more. There's always something different at the Superdome Morecambe. Phone our leisure line on Morecambe 424444 and find out who and what's on this week.
If you live in the Preston or South Ribble areas, you'll already have read about the £4,000 kitchen contest in the Red Rose Advertiser. Now we're opening up the competition, arranged in association with kitchen and bedroom specialists upstairs downstairs of Blackpool Road, Preston, to the whole of our radio audience. So here are 3 questions, and we want you to finish a sentence which we've started in not more than 25 words. Question 1, who played the butler in the TV series Upstairs Downstairs? Question 2, what was Mrs. Bridges' job in the same series? And 3, who was the famous authoress who wrote a series of books on her life below stairs? And now that sentence, and it starts, I would like a fitted kitchen because. Entries to Kitchen Contest, P.O. Box 301, Preston, before July the 25th.
It's 11 and a half minutes to midnight. If you wish to join us on the phone in, the numbers, Preston 561,000.
Allan Beswick.
How do Mick? Mick's gone. How do Jeff?
Hello, Alan.
Hello.
I got pulled in for drunken disorderly the other day, and they put me at cells. And they threw this back.
How do to Anne?
Hello.
Yes.
You know the programme you mentioned before, Alan, about the child sex abuse?
Yes.
Is that being repeated at all?
Yes, it is. It's being repeated tomorrow
Actually, that is the second...
Sorry?
That is the second time it will have been on.
Yes, it was on this evening at 7:20. It was on this evening at 7:20,
Yeah.
and it'll be on again tomorrow at 4 minutes past 4.
I see.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Cheers. How do Paul?
Good evening, Alan. I'd like to talk about fantasy role-playing games. Your caller before talked about fantasy role-playing games leading into devil worship. I think he was too general in his comment. Certain specific fantasy role-playing games can lead into devil worship by their very nature.
Tell me about it.
Well, you've probably heard of a game called Dungeons and Dragons.
Yes.
And there's certain manuals which come with Dungeons and Dragons, the Monster Manual and the Deity Manual, etc. And in these manuals, there are spells and ways of calling up demons. And the way Dungeons and Dragons works, it's not like acting. It's more like you take on the role of a person and you live out vicariously the actions of that person, going around killing and finding things, and then you actually go through the processes of calling up demons, and it can lead into heavier things like devil worship.
I don't see how playing a game. I mean,
well, it's not like playing a game. It's not like playing a board game like Monopoly.
No, I'm not suggesting it is.
You're actually taking on the aspects of that character, and you're actually living through.
But it's still a game. It's a game. It's a pastime. And I don't think playing that game takes anyone along, if you like, an intellectual ladder that means that they end up believing the character they're playing. It might take a lunatic that way.
You see, the thing is that what you said is it's a pastime, and that's right, it is a pastime. But you see, it takes you into areas which are very dangerous. It's like...
What areas?
Areas of devil worship, areas of calling up demons, areas of demonization.
Well, for that to work, or for me to be convinced of that, I've first of all got to believe there are devils to call up. And you're on a loser there, because I don't believe there are such devils.
I'm not saying that you believe it. I know you don't believe it, Alan, but there are people who believe in devils, and what we're saying is, does this lead into devil worship? And for the people who do believe in devils, this is like a doorway that's open to them, and it takes them deeper into an area which is called of the devil.
So in other words, when you say that it leads people, or can lead people, in that direction, what you're really saying is it can provide those who wish to seek that result with a route to that result, but it doesn't lead people into that.
But you see, the thing is that it starts off on a very light level. I mean, when you first get into Dungeons and Dragons, it's on a very light level. It's not you don't start off by calling up demons or getting into really heavy characters. You start off on a very, very light level. I mean, there's a slight analogy with drugs. You start off on a very light level, and it can lead for people who have certain mindsets into harder drugs, just like Dungeons and Dragons can lead into devil worship. Do you understand what I'm saying? I'm not saying that everybody who plays
I appreciate that that's not what you're saying. I'm fully aware that that's not what you're saying. But what I don't understand is the suggestion that some of the role-playing you call, or during some of the role-playing, you call up devils, which of course you cannot do, because they're not there to call up.
Well, if that's what you believe, it's not what I believe.
Well, fine, but that is what I believe. So tell me about how you would call up a devil. You tell me how you would go about calling up a devil.
Well, I wouldn't go about calling up a devil, Alan.
Well, how do you know they're there?
Because I've seen the effects of them, and I've seen them.
Well, tell me about the effects.
I've seen people who have had a devil on them with sickness, and I've seen the devil cast out, and the sickness go.
Tell me about it. How did they get this devil on them?
Well, it's
or in them?
The devil isn't actually on them or in them. The devil affects
Well, that was the
them.
term you used.
Yeah, well, I used a bad term. On them was a bad term. Okay. What happens is they open themselves up to the influence of a devil or a demon, and the demon affects them in some way.
Now tell me the kind of way this demon affects them.
Well, it can affect them in lots of different ways.
Well, I've asked you to tell me an example.
Okay.
I appreciate there's more than one.
Very heavy depression.
Well, I know lots of people with very heavy depression. Are you telling me they've called up a devil?
No, not all of them. But quite possibly some of them have opened themselves up to devil. They don't go out and call one up.
Well, you seem to imply that they do.
Not everybody who is demonised calls up a devil. They open themselves up to it by being involved in things which are of the devil, such as fantasy role-playing games.
But why are fantasy role-playing games intrinsically of the devil?
Not all fantasy role-playing games are.
Why are demons and dragons, or Dungeons and Dragons?
Because of the rituals which go with Dungeons and Dragons.
So when you said that they don't call them, so when you said that they don't call them up, you actually mean that they do.
Pardon?
Well, you said a moment ago that some people get involved in these devils, or these devils come into them because they open themselves to them.
Yeah.
They don't actually call them up. Now you're telling me that they do.
I'm not telling you that they
You
do.
are. You're saying that the rituals that come with the manuals of Dungeons and Dragons actually contain these devil worship calls.
That's right, yeah.
Well, 3 seconds ago you said that they don't call up the devil. Now you're saying they do again.
What I'm saying is...
I'm devilled if I can understand what you're prattling about, to be honest.
Okay. No, I'm sorry
Because you're
if you don't
saying...
understand.
Well, I can never understand people who change their mind.
Well, I didn't change my mind.
Answer me which is correct.
Yeah.
Do these rituals call up the devils, or do people who play the game actually just have devils enter them? Which?
The rituals provide a route for the demons to affect the people.
These demons that are able to affect people, how come they can't get there without a route?
They can get there without a route, but you see...
So it doesn't really matter whether you provide them with a route or not. If they want you, they'll get you.
It does. It's like...
Oh, I see.
You make it much easier. If you open yourself up to something, then you make it much easier for it to come in. If you are wise and you are walking on a straight road...
What is this, Pratt? Don't talk to me in analogies.
Okay, if
I'm wise and walking on a straight road, you're wise and walking to a straight road, you walk into a lamppost.
Well, not on the roads. That lamppost is usually on the pavement.
Oh, so, well, you'll get splattered all over the road, or else some scouser will start cutting you up with a knife like one did last night.
Well, maybe, yeah, but...
Don't play games.
I'm not playing games.
So tell me, what do you mean, if you're wise and you walk on a straight road, tell me what all that bullshit means. Tell me what it means.
Okay,
if you don't know, don't use analogies unless you know what they're trying to represent.
Okay, right.
So tell me what it means.
If you know that demons exist and you make a stand against demons, then
We've got a problem
will
here,
not
haven't we?
affect
So
you.
what you're saying to me is, I don't know they exist. So
you're more likely to be affected by
I obviously cannot find this straight road to walk.
Of course you
What
can.
a lot of crap. Are you telling me that I'm going to get overcome by a devil?
Wouldn't surprise me, Alan.
It wouldn't surprise you. Well, it bloody well surprised me. I've had enough of being overcome by a prat. Good night. How do, Neil?
Alan?
Yes.
About these fruit machines.
What fruit machines?
These arcades. I'm not talking about the ones on the fairgrounds and on the seafront. I mean the ones in, like, town centres. I think they should all shut down. Because I spend all my wages in there every week. I know it's daft. What bothers me is people, old-age pensioners are in there. Young couples with their kids in pram, and they're spending all their monies in. They should be shut down, all these places.
Well, why don't we shut bread shops as well, because people spend their money in there. It's not my fault that you haven't got the willpower to run your life properly. How do, Oliver?
Hello, do you want to buy some American rocket launchers and tanks?
As it happens, no. How do, Kim?
Hello, I was wondering if you could help me. I bought a piece of software for a computer somewhere in Preston, and it won't load into the computer. And I have the receipt and everything for it. If I take it back, can I get my money back?
If you specified what computer it was for and the software is meant to go into your computer, yes. But if you didn't, no, not necessarily.
Everything was explained to them, what computer it was for.
In that case, it's non-merchantable and you're entitled to a full cash refund.
Oh, thank you.
Okay.
Bye.
That doesn't mean you'll get it. How do, Carol?
Hello, Alan.
Hello.
I'd like to talk to you about the killing of whales.
Whales?
Yeah, whales. I was watching a programme last night on TV, and it just really upset me the way they actually killed the animals.
Well, how do you want them killed?
Well, couldn't they find a sort of humane way to kill them instead of, like, bleeding them to death for 4 hours and things like that, you know?
It's a bit difficult, isn't it, to kill a whale? Quite large, aren't they, really?
Well, I know, but just, couldn't they... I don't know, really.
Why kill them at all?
True, yeah. But is it necessary for them to kill them?
No, it's not. There's nothing they provide that we can't manage without.
So I've heard it's like putting dog food and cat food, but really...
Some of it is.
It doesn't make much difference to the cat and the dog what they eat, really, does it?
Well, I suppose not. Well, Vera Lynn used to eat it as well, you know.
Does she?
Yeah, she didn't like it, though. She liked it at first, but she got fed up of it, and that's why she sang that song. We'll meet again, down nowhere. Ta-ra, love.
Bye-bye.
Very nearly midnight, but I'm like you. I don't think we should be killing whales either. I think it's a beautiful place, and I'll go there for my holidays in August. We shall be talking to you yet again after the midnight news, which is now only 5 seconds away.
The Midnight News, this is Therese Birch. The Commons is packed for a late-night debate on MPs' pay, which is likely to end with members awarding themselves a £4,000 a year rise. The MPs have a free vote on the sensitive issue, which has pitched together such unlikely allies as Mrs Thatcher and militant Labour MP Dave Nellist. They're against the rise, which will take an MP's basic salary up to £22,500 a year. But Shadow Commons leader Frank Dobson says there are plenty who could do with the money.
If there are any members of the House who don't want to take the increase in pay or feel that they can't properly spend all the allowances in providing a service for their constituents, that is their own decision. I don't believe that they should obstruct those of us who feel we could make good use of both.
Two Kuwaiti tankers now carrying the American Stars and Stripes flag are waiting outside the entrance to the Gulf of Persia, ready to make the trip to Kuwait. They'll have an escort of American warships and planes trying to prevent attacks from Iran. The Lord Chief Justice, Lord Lane, is defending judges against critics who say they're too soft on criminals. Speaking in London, Lord Lane said media coverage describing sentences as disgraceful or wicked doesn't help anyone. Helena Kierkuch reports.
Lord Lane says most complaints about over-leniency are unfounded. He's suggesting critical newspaper headlines overlook or consciously disregard the limited deterrent effect of jail sentences and the limited number of places in the country's prisons. And he's blaming the breakdown of morals and family life, not the attitude of the courts, for the upsurge in crime. Lord Lane says those are areas where the church might be expected to have more influence.
A delegation of Labour MPs from Merseyside has urged Home Secretary Douglas Hurd not to sanction the extradition to Belgium of 26 Liverpool football fans facing charges arising from the Heysel Stadium riot. The MPs say the supporters can't expect a fair trial in Brussels. The Bulgarian government says the expulsion of its military attaché in Britain for alleged spying is totally unjustified. The Foreign Office has given Colonel Ivan Jambov a fortnight to pack his bags and go home after accusing him of activities incompatible with his status, a euphemism for spying. Bulgarian chargé d'affaires, Filip Bokov, says he has made a strong protest to the Foreign Office.
I told them that their action was unjustifiable, that there were no specific charges leveled against Colonel Jambov, and therefore we thought that the accusations against him were groundless, and I protested most energetically.
Is Colonel Jambov a spy?
No, he isn't.
Another Safeway store in Scotland has been hit by a mystery poisoner. Pieces of glass have been found in a tub of coleslaw bought from a Glasgow supermarket on Sunday. Now, a scribbled message on a carton of fruit juice has warned of further contamination, but no poisons have been found. Last month, 3 Safeway stores in Edinburgh were hit by a blackmailer demanding £40,000. Independent Radio News.
Ring him if you dare.
Allan Beswick, the Late Night Show.
Welcome to Wednesday, an interesting day by all accounts. 3¼ minutes past midnight. Preston 561,000 to join us on the phone in.
24 hours a day, Red Rose Radio.
I'll do Chris.
Hi, Alan.
Yep.
To come back on the role-playing games thing, I personally have been playing role-playing games now for about 5 years, both playing and mastering them. And this
Where does one do this?
We generally take place at each other's houses, wherever it's convenient for everybody to get together. It entirely depends on what.
Well, tell me what happens.
Yeah, well.
I have some knowledge. As I say, a friend of mine is starting a role-playing dungeon.
Yeah.
In Bristol. I believe the only other place there is one at the moment is London.
Yeah, well, there used to be
So you
one.
do your own, so tell me all about it. Tell me what you do.
Okay. Well, essentially, the person who's mastering the game or running the game has an idea of an adventure of any kind, really, both medieval, up-to-date, in the far future, whatever. It's entirely up to him. He then puts a number of characters which are randomly generated by other players, with certain attribute points such as strength, constitution, etc., which all go towards the general character of the person. They then take that character through the adventure which is set by this particular games master, and try and complete this without either being demised in some way, such as death, or in the case of, like other people have mentioned, being possessed or such things. And they try and complete this until, they attain a better level and thereby can continue into more, harder and steadier progression. Now, on the subject of the possession side and the demons, it's all part of the game. The whole thing is...
Well, hang on a minute. What's the point?
The point?
What do you get out of it?
Well, the more powerful your character is, the more things you can do. Like, for instance, in the game Dungeons & Dragons, if I'm allowed to say, mention names such as that, there is particular classes like fighters, magic users.
That only tells me how you achieve what you wish to achieve. What is the point? What do you, the individual? You're obviously quite involved with it, Chris.
Yeah.
So what do you get out of it?
I get a lot of enjoyment out of it, actually.
Yeah, but I know you get enjoyment.
Yeah.
You wouldn't be doing it because you like hanging by your thumbs. Tell me what it is you enjoy. What pleasure do you get? Does it give you stimulation of some sort?
I enjoy the adrenaline flow when you're involved in a battle. I enjoy the political intrigue you can get involved in, the discussions with other higher level characters which are actually played by the games master. They're called non-player characters. In other words, a character which is not controlled by one of the other players. You can actually improve a lot, I would suggest, in the way you can discuss things with people. For instance, if, say, for instance, you had to go and visit a king, you would have to go through the protocol of such. I mean, I know visiting a king is a rare occurrence for an ordinary man in today's society, but...
But should it ever happen, you'll be well ready.
Yeah, I suppose so, yeah.
Well, that's useful, isn't it?
Yeah.
A lot of demand for that.
Yeah.
Go on.
Well, now...
Tell me, I mean, you're talking to a superior intellect now, obviously, so tell me about how you would prepare for this in your game, be it Dungeons, Dragons, or what have you.
Well, firstly, if it depends on the situation. If, for instance, you were an enemy of this person...
I'm everybody's enemy.
That's as maybe.
Therefore, I'm that person's enemy.
Right. So you would employ, say, for instance, an assassin or a spy to find out how this person worked, what his role in society was, how many people below him of reasonable power, what threat he poses to you, and then you decide on the best action to take in order to meet this person or even try and kill him as such. I mean, I'm not suggesting I would try and kill you, but, maybe in a game situation that would be a different matter.
Well, yes, we're talking about if I were a character in one of your games.
Yeah, and you were my enemy.
I am your enemy, and I am a media person.
Yeah, a media person, right.
Well, that's what I am.
Yeah.
I mean, we're talking about this man sitting here talking with you at the moment.
Yes, right. So, if I felt that you were in any way a threat to me, I would devise some plan, possibly with my associates, in order to kill you of some kind. Now,
what do you mean, kill me of some kind? There's only one kind of death, mate. I mean, there's a number of ways of doing it, but there's only one way of dying, and that's finito.
Yeah, there's several ways of dying in the game, as such. But,
there's 7 processes by which you can die.
Yes, that's true, yeah. But there is a certain number of deaths involved. I mean, death is not the final thing in the game.
Oh, I see.
It's
Oh,
possible
that's
to be
useful.
resurrected. In certain games, anyway. In others, resurrection is a good deal harder. It depends on the game system. Getting back to my attempt to kill you, for instance, I would then, if I was of a sufficient character class in order to, say, for instance, assassinate you, I would go about the process, devise a plan. But most of the things involved, such as, say, for instance, you were walking down a street and I was sat on top of a building and I was going to fire an arrow into your chest or whatever. Everything is done on that scale, randomly rolled on dice. You have a certain number of...
Oh, I see. So that's where the element of non-control comes in, the element of chance.
I would suggest that virtually everything regarding the game, anything you have to do is randomly determined by different sized dices, like 1 to 6, 1 to 10, 1 to 20 percentile dice, which is like 1 to 100. Everything you do, from riding a horse, even walking your dog, I suppose, it can be...
I haven't got a dog and I can't ride a horse, so that's knackered them too. It all sounds pretty puerile, Chris.
Well, yeah, I suppose...
Infantile, to be honest. I mean, I can remember as a lad playing cowboys and Indians and playing war, and it doesn't seem to have taken much of a step from there.
Well, I don't suppose it has, really. It depends on what level you're playing as such. If you are just... the term in the role-playing faction is hack and slay merchant, or slack and hay, depending on how you say it. If you're just using the game purely just to go into a room and slaughter 20 people and come out covered in blood and gain a few experience points or increase your skills and that, then that's entirely up to you. But personally, I play more on the political scale. Can I quote a certain game that...
Feel free. I mean, no one knows what you're talking about anyway, so go ahead. Sounds like something like the Freemasons, doesn't it? But go on.
Well, yeah, no goatskin aprons involved there.
No.
Anyway, the current game that we're playing at the moment is... have you read any of the books by an author known as Michael Moorcock?
No.
No.
I like the idea, though.
Yeah.
I could do with a couple more. Go on, yeah.
His idea is basically about... the game, essentially, is known as Stormbringer, which is named after the name of a particular sword, a soul-draining demon sword. I should imagine that'll shock the opposers of role-playing games.
I'm sure it would. They'll all be grabbing their Bibles and crosses right now, but go on.
Yeah. And he's set in this the world of the imagination of this author. Now, in the game we are at the moment, my character is second in line to the throne of an island known as Melnibone, which is a humanoid race of such. Now, we have gone into the far future by some quirk of fate and ended up at the vanguard of an intergalactic war, if you like. Now, the interesting thing about it is that we are not liked by the people who we're helping. We're also not liked by the Imperium, as they call themselves. And for the past, I would suggest, 3, maybe 4 weeks of playing twice a week, the whole game has been around battle strategies. How many warships you're going to need in a certain area, supply lines, communication between these things, and so it puts you into situations which you not necessarily find in today, but are quite enjoyable to try and work your way through.
Well, I'm forced to say, Chris, that whatever turns you on, providing it doesn't harm somebody else, get on with it, but I really cannot see the point. But be my guest and carry on. Thank you for your explanation.
Thank you very much.
Served useful. A somewhat more constructive explanation than my friend in Bristol gave me, because I couldn't understand him either, but he was going to have this dirty great big warehouse with all sorts of other things going on. He still hasn't got any money raised to do it, and he's getting none off me. All right.
There was one place. Do you know Tarpley?
Yes, I do.
Beeston Castle.
Yeah.
There was one called. What was it called? Oh, it was at Pepperton Castle, and I attended it several times, and it was good fun. For instance, we went down in one particular venture. You actually took on the character both in armour, and you had these rubber swords, which was a bit stupid, I suppose, if you like. Go around hitting each other, you know. But
I never said a word, Chris. But if the cap fits, I suggest you wear it. Anyway, you obviously enjoy it. It sounds perfectly harmless fun to me, but not fun for my benefit, fun for yours. All I know is that I think it's in September, I'm scheduled to go on a murder weekend in Barrow.
In Barrow?
At some hotel. It's part of a Red Rose Radio promotion. More than that, I know not. And I look forward to that, because I want to know who are these gormless plebs that go on these damn things.
Well, there are a lot of gormless plebs.
Never mind. Well, you don't sound so clever yourself. But thanks for the explanation, Chris. It was very useful.
Thanks.
A street, a sound is the start of the day. It's the heat of the road, it's breaking away. A kiss, a glance, it is hot, it is cool. A smile, a chance, it is breaking a rule. It's just how you feel when you know it's for real. It's a hit, it's a Coca-Cola, is it?
Whether you're considering a Citroen, Lada or Ford for E-Day on August the 1st, give the rest the big E for John Wilding. Right now, John Wilding is getting all excited by offering truly exceptional deals on all three of these makes, along with extremely low finance on selected models. You're always guaranteed John Wilding's excellent after-sales service too, and exceedingly generous part exchange allowances. So see how easy John Wilding makes buying E-Reg cars with Citroen and Lada at Banbury Garage, Westgate, Morecambe, and Ford on the A6 Gar Stand.
Please listen to my ditty. It may not be very witty, nor even slightly funny, but it will help save you money. For me, from cradle to grave, I aim to shop and save. I buy out I need, for next to nought indeed. There's meat and veg and cheese and bix and booze and clothes and cards and sweets and pigs and pet food and household things. So shop and save a load down Blackpool's Waterloo Road, in the market they call new, and Overt Road, the M2. Thank you. Poetry in prices, from the Newmarket and M2 Market.
It's the place to come, where shopping can be fun. The Newmarket, Waterloo Road.
How do, Darren?
Oh, Alan.
Yeah.
I was in a pet shop this afternoon.
Surprised you got out without being sold. Go on.
Nice one. I was in a pet shop this afternoon, and I couldn't help overhearing two young lads, and they were obviously students after what I heard, what they were saying. And one was saying that they got £748 a term grant, and he was complaining about it. And I've worked it out. If they take away the student fees they have to pay to the college, they're still left with 370 quid. I mean, what do they want? You know, they're not exactly working for the money, are they?
Well, 370 quid per term. Now, how many weeks in a term are there?
Well, you took out 14.
All right, 14.
Well, my brother was at college,
Well, fine. 14 divided by 370. Come along.
Well, it's more you get than the dough anyway.
Well, let's have an answer to the question. 370 divided by 14.
He also said he had a bar job.
Would you like to answer the question?
370 by 14.
Well done, yes, that was the question.
Hold on a minute. They get the meal at night, they get the free board.
No, they don't.
They get the meal at night on the board as well.
No, they don't.
They get the meal at night on the board as well.
No, they don't.
Yes, they do.
They have to pay for it.
No, they don't have to pay for it.
Yes, they do.
I'd say most sociology students who leave college end up coming from college without working their lives.
Well,
and this exception, the pet shop, hasn't worked in his life, I'd say.
Would you like to just stop a second and concentrate what is left left of the ravages of, or what the ravages of time have left of your brain.
It's probably about £40 a week.
It's probably about £40 a week. Well, it either is £40 a week or it isn't £40 a week, is
Well,
it?
that's a conservative estimate.
A conservative estimate. £40 a week. And you're suggesting that that is sufficient to pay? Would you like to just wait till the question ends? It's one of the funny idiosyncrasies of conversation that one speaks, the other listens, and then you swap round. It's a little game. It's a role play. You don't be worried if the devil appears. He's just in the wrong role play. So this 40 quid that they get by your bizarre mathematical calculation, you're telling me they get that and they're bored?
I've worked out that they get...
Yeah, would you like to answer the question? Otherwise it gets confusing. I'm not quite as bright as you, and probably never will be, so we'll just have to plod on in my strange, immature, irresponsible, unintellectual way. This 40 quid that you claim they get per week, you're telling me, are you, that that 40 quid is after they've paid their board?
No, what I'm saying...
Oh, so are you saying that they don't have
Excuse me.
No, don't excuse you. Don't excuse you.
This person had a bar job twice a week.
We're not interested in the person and his bar job. We're interested in this 40 quid, this fictional figure of 40 quid. Is it or is it not 40 quid after the cost of their board?
Well, it's about £26.46.
This £26.46, is it before or after their board?
After the board.
After. How much does the board cost?
Excuse me.
No, don't excuse you. Excuse you the second time I heard you...
£27.50 a week.
I see. So the £27.50 means... Hang on, I'm not as bright as you. You must give me time. I don't have your intellect. Our monkey does, but you don't.
Listen to me answer.
Well, I have to wait, you see. I'm working it out now. So you're saying that overall they receive a benefit of £54.36.
That's including what they've left after they've paid the fees.
Yeah.
And then for that they get the room and the evening meal. That leaves £26.46 a week. On top of that, I had to work 2 nights a week.
What do you think? And we're not interested in his job. If somebody manages to get a job, good luck to them, I say. Could we just establish? Can we just try to establish a pattern for the conversation? We've got now that, as far as you're concerned, they've got free bed and board and £27.50 a week, £26.46 a week. Now we've got that on record. So, will you tell me now what it is that's upsetting you?
The fact that these people have to work 2 nights a week to have £50 a week for themselves. And you can consider people on YTS schemes.
Hang on a minute. I can only deal with one thing at a time. As I said, I'm a simple soul. So, are you now complaining that they've got these part-time jobs, or are you saying that they shouldn't have them?
Yes, the DOS one.
No, yes won't do. No, I'm sorry, to a question like that, yes won't do as an answer. Should they or shouldn't they have these part-time jobs?
Well, if they should have these part-time
jobs... just tell me whether they should or shouldn't for the time being. As I say, I'm a simple soul.
No, nothing against part-time jobs whatsoever, Owen.
But I'm talking about them having them, not the existence of them. Are you saying they shouldn't have these part-time jobs?
No, I'm not saying that.
Well, are you saying that they...
the money they've got left, at least £50 a week, and he was complaining. And, I mean, students seem to always get Students have a very hard time of it. It's absolute rubbish.
You think it's
Compared
rubbish?
to a lot of people of their age, they don't have an hard time of it whatsoever.
Well, of course, they're better off than most Ethiopians, aren't they?
I'm talking...
Well, let's work through. Let us work through. We're not talking about British world. You said most people. Well, they're certainly better off than most Ethiopians, aren't they? So
I think you're being a bit ridiculous, but I'm not...
Well, I have to be ridiculous because we really do want to get this conversation thrashed out into its nth degree. So, what is it you're suggesting that we... What? Go on, tell me.
So, what I'm suggesting is, compared to what they do, compared to what they get out of it...
What do they get out of it?
They get an education. They get what they deserve.
What do they deserve?
Whatever they put into it.
Well, what do they put into it?
Well, for what I've seen, they don't put a lot into it at all.
So they don't deserve much?
No.
So they get not much, because you said they get what they deserve, and they deserve what they put into it. They don't put anything into it, so they don't get anything. So what's your whinging? I don't understand your thought process.
People who go protocol. It's just a muck about. That's what I'm talking about.
Oh, that's what it is. I'm sorry you didn't mention it. How did you know that those two people in the pet shop? One wonders what they were doing in there. Probably squandering money on some exotic animal. But anyway,
Well, probably an experiment on some two hamsters that just were put there that evening.
They were doing what?
Probably an experiment on two hamsters put that evening. It's very important towards the thesis, you know.
I'm sorry, you've lost me now. Why are two hamsters important to
when
these
the
two
return
people?
of Ravjoles goes into a pet shop.
Will you wait for the question before you answer it? As I say, I have difficulty keeping up with your superior, amazing intellect. It's very difficult for me. I'm a slow, methodic thinker. Everybody knows that listens to this programme. They know I'm a slow pedestrian. If you mention his name again, you'll be cut off. All right. I know you're getting your rocks off by impressing your imbecilic friends, but let's do it the right way, eh? Okay?
Okay.
Fine. So, this experiment involving the two hamsters, how were you aware of this experiment? Did you enter into a conversation with these two students?
I saw like cussing the jib out, you know.
You'll have to speak English. I'm limited to that. It's difficult for me, but I try.
Is that from a friend talks to you?
I'm sorry?
Who was there as well?
I'm sorry?
Is it always that my friend talks to you?
No, it isn't.
Oh.
Do you know, have you ever heard of Bill Kerr?
No.
An actor. Have you not? Well, he had a brother, Wan. Are you him? How do, Ian?
Hello, Alan.
What do you want?
Can you give me some advice, please?
Yes.
In March this year, I fell down a drainage grid at school, which had no cover on it, and broke a bone in my left foot.
Aye.
I was on crutches for about 2 weeks, and off school for about 3.5 weeks. I was just wondering, are the education authority liable, or is it the local council?
It rather depends. What did you fall down?
A drainage grid without the cover on it.
And where was it?
In school, on the school premises.
Well, it could be the school that's liable. It's well worth having a go at the school.
Well, I've contacted the solicitor, and he took a statement off a witness, and we're just waiting to see what comes.
Why are you bothering me if you've got a solicitor acting for you?
Well, I just wanted to know what my chances were.
Why don't you ask him? He's getting all the money.
Well, I haven't had time yet.
Oh, well, I feel sorry for you. If he's had time to consult with a witness, you must have had a conversation with him.
No.
No? He just... How did he know it had happened, then?
He had to wait with me.
Well, he can't have a conversation with you not having one with him.
Yeah.
It's a two-sided job. So when you were talking to this solicitor, who happened to ring you and ask you if you'd fallen down any manholes today, it's a strange way to make your living, but...
No, we contacted the solicitor.
Oh, you did contact him?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you said he contacted you.
No, we contacted
Oh, great. It's all falling into place now, rather like you did. However, so you phoned a solicitor and said, I've fallen down a manhole.
Yeah.
So you then told him how it happened, I bet.
Yeah.
You see, I'm good at guessing me. And then when you told him how it happened, he asked you a few questions, yeah?
Yeah.
And then he said, oh, well, we'll need to talk to this witness, yeah? Great. And you never bothered then, because you didn't think of it, I bet. I bet you never said to him then, what do you reckon my chances are? I bet you didn't say that, did you?
No.
Well, you should have done, you gobbeted prat.
The Munich Beer Festival is famous throughout the world for everyone to have a good time. There's more barrels than at the OK Corral, and departure dates are the 17th or the 24th of September or the 1st of October. You'll stay at the classy Gasthof Zillertal in Strasse, if we can drag you away from the bar, that is. And the cost, half board, is just £99. But make sure you ring Avalon Travel today, because this is on a first-come, first-served basis. Get it? Avalon Travel, phone Bolton 398788.
Thinking of changing your hi-fi? Call into Lang Video Audio at Crumpton Street, Wigan, and Nersley Street, Bolton, the North's leading part exchange hi-fi specialists. Ring Wigan 323-897 for details now.
Carpets. Red ones, green ones, yellow and blue. We've got the carpets just for you at the Carpet Supermarket, Fletcher Road off Ribbleton Lane, Preston. Open 7 days a week.
Also at Long Lane, Aintree.
Deal direct with Direct Window.
Direct Windows, the best way to buy UPVC windows and doors in Lancashire. We install the superb Bowater Halo system, and all work is guaranteed and underwritten at Lloyd's of London. Buy direct, avoid the middleman, and make hard cash savings. Visit the new factory showroom 7 days a week at 64 Red Scar Estate, Longridge Road, or phone Paul Kelly on Preston 703 008.
Deal direct with Direct Windows. Direct Windows.
How do Lillian? Ooh, she's gone. How do Paul?
I don't suppose you have a copy of Fly Fishing by J.R. Hartley. It is rather old.
Thank you very much.
Do. Good for you, you intellectual gimp.
Gimp? There's a nice word. I always thought it's something you carried round. How do Dave?
Hello, Alan.
Yes.
I want to talk about reincarnation. How come you think it's loads of codswallop?
Because it is.
Well, you tell me what happens to you when you die.
Nothing. You just start to
Nothing.
decompose.
But that's rather stupid, isn't it? To just live on this
Well,
earth.
I wish there was something better, but I didn't design it.
Oh, there is.
Well, tell me about it.
Well, if you learn everything that you need to learn while you're alive, you will die and go on to the mighty ether.
The mighty who?
Ether. It's another on this earth.
Well, tell me about it. Calling it the mighty ether doesn't tell me what it is. This mighty ether, which I always thought dentists used in the olden days. But what? Tell me what it is.
I'll tell you what it is. It's on this earth there isn't just one plane of existence, not just us. There's lots more other planes of existence which can't be seen. The beings which are passing in and out of us.
Well, how do you know?
I don't know from experience. Just
I asked you how you know, not how you don't know.
well, it's just my idea of what.
Your idea?
Yeah.
Well, you don't expect to be able to convince me with just some tuppence halfpenny idea, do you?
Well, you know, what's the point of living on Earth and just dying and decomposing?
Well, I don't know. Are you telling me then that trees reincarnate?
Trees.
Trees, yeah, you know, them wooden things with the leaves hanging out, standing there all day with the wind going through the Khyber. Then you've seen trees. You must have seen trees. Do they reincarnate?
Well, maybe they could, yeah.
Well, I'm not asking whether they could. I mean, obviously, if your imagination's vivid enough, anything can happen. But tell me whether they do.
Maybe a tree.
I don't want to know. Maybe you're fairly certain about humans. I don't want some tuppenny halfpenny nothing markless guess about trees. Do trees reincarnate? Yes or no?
Yes, they do.
Why?
Because they're a living organism.
Well, why did you have difficulty answering the question at first?
Because I was trying to explain something.
I don't want an explanation. I asked you whether trees reincarnate. You said they could do. Now you're telling me they do.
Yes, they do.
You're a pleb.
Oh, God.
It's no good appealing to God. He's busy reincarnating all the flaming trees. How do Vivian?
Oh, hello.
Hello, love.
I would like some of the viewers, some of the listeners to phone in about how thank you should be at the beginning of a letter. I have temped in Manchester, and when I've telex, it's thank you is looped together. When I'm typing it now where I'm working, I'm getting told off for putting it together, which is the correct way.
There isn't a correct way. There's no definitive version. They're both correct. They're both wrong.
Oh.
In other words, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, well, it does when I have to retype things for putting it together.